Hi everybody, I'm Dr. John Douillard and welcome to LifeSpa.com, where we prove the ancient medical wisdom of Ayurveda with modern science. And today I want to talk about the importance of maintaining your muscle mass as you age. You know, as we age, our requirements dramatically change. When you were 18, your requirements nutritionally were different than when they were when you're 35 or 55 or 75 or 85. We are continually changing, and the studies are now showing that we need to respond to those changes for optimal health. You know, many of us in the sort of Ayurvedic yoga community have been eating a kind of a lower protein diet, a more plant-based diet. And the studies show that that diet has offered us protection from cancers and heart disease and cognitive decline and all kinds of things. And it's probably really good that we actually did that. But as you get older, our requirements for protein dramatically increase. And the studies show that if you start adding more protein into your diet as you get older, you don't lose those protective benefits that you got from having a lower protein diet when you were younger. So it is really important for us to think about getting more protein in our diet as we age. Now, I know in the yoga, Ayurvedic community, we're thinking about more yoga and flexibility and not creating big muscles. But as you age, if you become frail, frailty is one of the #1 increased risk factors for mortality, all-cause mortality and morbidity. You know, and one study has showed that people who are frail, they fall more, they go to the hospital more, they go to recovery, centers more. One study showed that people who are more frail have lower muscle mass, have shorter lifespans, higher blood sugar, increased rates of sickness. After 30 years old, our muscle mass begins to decline between 3 to 8% per decade. And as we get older, that rate starts to go up even more. In a meta-analysis of 16 different studies where 81,000 folks were evaluated, they found that if you have low skeletal muscle or low muscle mass, that increases the risk of all-cause mortality, shorter lifespan. Studies show that the cause can be kind of multifactorial. It could be many things. It could be, the fact that as we get older, we produce less protein. We have less protein synthesis. We have hormonal changes as we age that can cause us not to make the muscle the way we should. We have less protein intake. We often have more of a sedentary lifestyle, which can cause the lack of need for muscle. If you don't use it, you lose it, right? So that's really important. And also, the body starts to produce less mitochondria or less mitochondrial energy to give you the energy for the muscles to build up. And that comes from what's called age-related DNA damage, because we're not able to get the trash out of the cell from energy production. So inside your cell, you have these little powerhouses called mitochondria, and they make energy, but they also make a pretty significant amount of waste called reactive oxygen species, which are pretty damaging and cause DNA damage. Now your body's got to shovel that out, and as we get older, we don't shovel it out as well. And the sun is a part of that. As the sun starts to come into our body, particularly infrared light in the morning, that infrared light penetrates our skin, activates an enzyme in our skin called the cytochrome C oxidase enzyme, which activates the production of mitochondrial energy. But it also stimulates the production of an antioxidant, which is called melatonin, different than the melatonin that puts you to sleep at night, which is only 10% of the melatonin in your body. 90% of the melatonin in your body is trapped inside the cell to swab up the reactive oxygen species. But as we age, more light pollution, our skin doesn't absorb the sun as much, or we're not in the sun as much, or put sunscreen on our skin significantly, we lose that ability to protect ourselves from the DNA damage that comes from energy production in our mitochondria, which is extremely oxidative, right? So that all are the reasons why that happens. Like I said, eating a lower protein diet when you're younger has been shown to give you lots and lots of protection. But as we age, we do require more. So let's say, for example, and this is my story, I was a college tennis player and a triathlete for many, many years. And I had, significantly more muscle mass on my body then than I do now. And what happens is your muscles, maybe most importantly, is a site of storage for your blood sugar. It sequesters your blood sugar. So if you were young and you created a metabolic kind of rate of energy in and waste out based on all this muscle mass that you created when you were young, and then as you get older, you lose that muscle mass. You lose the place to store the sugar that your body had gotten used to over all those years. And next thing you know, that extra sugar has no place to go, and it starts circulating in your blood, and you begin to see your morning blood sugar numbers start to go up. Or you begin to see your A1C, your after your meal numbers start to go up. And next thing you know, you start knocking on that pre-diabetic door or type 2 diabetic door. So one of the things that's really important as we get older is to increase our protein intake to a certain extent, but also increase the weight training to build the muscle. You're not going to build muscle unless you give the body the protein that it needs, because muscles will break down when you do work. And in your joints, there's synovial fluids, which have about 250 something proteins in this little sack of fluid around every joint. And once you exercise and use your muscle, or picking up things or lifting things or carrying things, you're going to use that synovial fluid to replenish the protein requirements of that muscle breakdown during that exertion very, very quickly. But as you get older, or if you're a vegetarian, or if you are not getting enough protein, it doesn't need to be animal protein, it just needs to be protein. It can be plant-based, but you do need more. And if you don't have that protein requirement, and then you're exercising or just living life, your body will first take the synovial fluid protein away from your joints to feed the rest of the body, and your joints will begin to ache. One of the reasons why folks get arthritic changes is not just because of toxicity and lymphatic circulation and digestive issues, which cause toxins that build up in the blood and the lymph and create toxicity issues. That's part of it. The other part is a lack of protein sometimes in the synovial fluid that doesn't give you the replenishment of the joint capsule and the muscles and the ligaments around the joint, and that can begin to cause problems as well. So the first place your body will go when it needs protein for other things are the synovial fluid of your joints, and that will make you feel achy. So if you're starting to feel achy, it might be knocking on that protein insufficiency door. And that's why you want to start increasing your protein intake and increasing your weight training. So about 2 hours after you do an exercise or a weight training program, you want to get some protein in your body significantly. Around 20 to 30 grams of protein would be a good rule of thumb. So how much protein should we actually eat? That's the big question. That number seems to be changing all the time. Definitely as we get older, that number continues to be going up and up and up. And that number is, according to a study in Stanford University, is about 0.5 to 0.7 grams of protein per pound of body weight. So if you're a 165-pound person, that should be 90 to 120 grams of protein per day. So think of a scoop of protein is maybe 2 scoops, depending on the protein powder, is usually 20 grams or so. So that person is going to need 70 to 120 grams of protein, and 1 scoop might be 20 grams of protein. So it becomes an interesting challenge to get your protein requirements and your protein needs up a little bit. So what's the best source of protein? Well, like I said, it doesn't have to be animal protein. It can be nuts and seeds. It can be grains if they're the whole grain with all the sperm and the endosperm and the bran on it, as opposed to processed whole wheat, which is not whole by any means. So you have to be careful about that. Whey protein has been studied again and again and again to be the most effective at building protein and muscle mass for folks that are older. When you lose muscle mass with age, it's called sarcopenia, and there's study after study showing that whey protein is the best. Mother's milk is whey protein. We are hardwired to absorb and assimilate whey protein. We don't do the casein or some of the milk solids or some of the lactose as well, but just a whey protein powder is the best. I'm not a protein powder fan, but I am a whey protein powder fan, and it took me years to source a kind of New Zealand-based, unadulterated, undenatured, pure, no additives protein powder from New Zealand that's not been heated, and it's just the pure stuff. There's no sugar in it or vitamins and all this stuff they put in protein powders. I really just want the protein, and that's what our Whey Pure is really all about. And that might be something that might help you get those protein needs met. Beans, I think, are a incredibly good source of protein and fiber, which they oftentimes, which they should and do, go together. Your nuts, your seeds, your grains, meat, if you need it, should be, I think, seasonal, more in the winter and less in the summer. Makes sense because that's when you'd have to hunt, right? If the winter nothing's growing, you're going to have to hunt and feed yourself. And there's even more subtle biochemical reasons why that makes good sense. But please don't be protein insufficient. To help folks do this, I wrote a full ebook called the Protein Deficiency ebook, where it's free, where you get all the information and science about how to replenish your reserves. Folks who oftentimes don't have enough protein, they can't sleep well, they get dizzy, they get tired, they're craving sugar, they got jelly beans in their glove compartment, they're constantly nibbling on sugar because they don't have enough protein to give them that stability that they need, and that's the first sign of a protein insufficiency. So please go to my website, LifeSpa.com, read the full article about this, go to my website, get the free ebook in our ebook library. All those are free as well. And they're just 30, 40 pages of more condensed information than a one article or a video that you can get if you just search up your health topic on my website at LifeSpa.com. While you're there, sign up for our newsletter, get this information regularly all about ancient wisdom and modern science, as well as check out our Ayurvedic store. You can get there through store.lifespa.com, or just click through from lifespa.com. Check out all of our organic herbs and our organic skincare line, and all of our information there. Cleanse kits, detoxification kits, all there at lifespa.com. Thanks for listening. I'm Dr. John Douillard. Hi everybody, I just want to take a minute and tell you what we do here at LifeSpa.com. You know, I've been in practice now for 40 years, 38 of them have been practicing Ayurvedic medicine full-time. For the last 20 years, I've been writing articles and doing videos on the ancient medical wisdom of Ayurveda with the modern science. You know, if something's been around for 1,000 years, still practiced today, and you have modern science to prove it, boy, I really feel like that's something we should all be taking a look at. And that's what we do at lifespa.com, and all that information is for free. So just go to lifespa.com and search in your health topic, and you'll get the information, the article that you need, hopefully that will help you. While you're there, check out our Ayurvedic store. You can get there through lifespa.com, or go to store.lifespa.com. And there we have all of our organic Ayurvedic herbs, our organic skincare line, more books, tapes, knowledge that we give you is all there at our store. All of our cleansing kits are there in our store. All of our herbs are whole herbs with the natural occurring microbiome, the way it came out of the soil. And that's critically important, because if I took the bugs out of you, you'd be completely different. We take the bugs away from a plant, like sterilizing and making an extract or spraying your food with pesticides, you lose significant benefit of that plant. And that's why we use the whole plant with the natural occurring microbiome. So check us out, learn more about what we're doing here at lifespa.com, and we'll see you again.
This recording is brought to you by LifeSpa, where ancient Ayurvedic wisdom meets modern science. Get access to free health video newsletters by Dr. John at LifeSpa.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.